I think I prefer the other one, actually. Anyway, let's move on. Let's forget about that. The new Bon Jovi album, called Slippery When Wet, is due out on September the 19th, and very good it is too. The band were in town recently, and we made sure one of the first places they stopped off was the Power Hour studio, so we could talk to them. Here they come, Jon Bon Jovi and guitarist Richie Sambora, and watch out for those tour dates. They'll be coming up over one of the videos. Now, Bon Jovi has just played some festival shows in Europe, but you weren't on the Castle Donington bill this year. Is that because you played it last year, or because you've got your own tour lined up later in the year in the UK, John?
Yeah, I just felt that, you know, we'd done it last year, so you don't want to step in the way of, for one thing, other bands that want to do it, you know, and the chance to go to Germany and do those other dates seemed a little more, you know, the right thing to do this year.
Yeah, actually, I think we were touring Japan at that point, too.
Mm. But also, Richard, have you not got a tour tentatively planned for the UK later in the year?
Absolutely. I think we should be here in November, right?
Yeah.
I think we'll be here in November. We'll be touring, you know, I guess our second headlining tour of Europe.
That's good. So when you were in the UK last time, John, you were promoting the 7,800 Degrees Fahrenheit album, your second record. But now there's a new one out, Slippery When Wet. I think you've got a copy of the record there, haven't you, which we can have a look at. It's out in about a week's time.
Hi there. This
Very
is our
interesting.
album, available to you on Phonogram Records and Tapes.
Very interesting title. Where did the idea for that title come from?
Slippery When Wet was conceived, as we say, in a strip bar. And the reason the title came was because originally it was called Wanted, Dead or Alive.
Which is a track on the album, isn't it?
Yeah, which is a track on the album that we wanted to bring attention to. We didn't feel that it would be a single, but we did feel that the tune was worth taking notice. One night, viewing the Polaroids of the album cover shoot that we had done up in Canada in this stripper's bar, and we were there to pick up some ladies who were friends of ours, and they were working. And we're talking about this album cover that was too deadpan, it was too posed, it was very cold, and she was vying for our attention. And we would just keep continuing talking about, oh yeah, I hate this, and a couple of beers later realized that she was still dancing away and we weren't paying much attention. And looking over, I said, my God, look how wet that is. And she was in a shower, all soaked up, and she was dancing.
Well, had these showers on stage then?
They have a plexiglass shower built on the stage, and she was dancing to one of our songs. And just soaked up so much Mr. Bubble would have been proud, you know. One thing led to another, and the wet became slippery when wet, and the idea, you know, was almost a joke to say, oh yeah, we could put on the shower on the cover, and we went, yeah, that'd be funny. And then, oh, we'll put road signs up, oh yeah, that'd be great. Well, the joke ended up spreading, and you know, record company management and the band, we all agreed that it would be fun. And the Wanted title just went in the car.
So what was the cover? What was the idea for the Slippery When Wet cover, Richie? What were you going to put on that cover?
Well, it actually was a shot of a girl, like from here to here, who had quite a vivacious chest, and she had a Slippery When Wet T-shirt on, and it was shot through a pane of glass with water coming off the glass. And on behind, it was a car wash. So it was a pun. So you were actually, what you were doing, like you were in the car, and she was washing your window, and she had a Slippery When Wet T-shirt on, and this is what you saw from your car window, and then when you turn over the record, it was the car wash, which is now on the inner sleeve.
So why wasn't that cover used, finally?
The PMRC in America, which is like really, really cracking down on, you know, any kind of bad lyrics or sexual things, just said they wouldn't shelve it, they wouldn't rack it, and we just said we don't want to take any chances like that because it's the music that's the important thing, not the cover.
Okay, well, we can take a look at some music now. We'll take a short break and we'll talk more about the new album later. But in the meantime, this is In and Out of Love. John, we've already mentioned your second album, the 7,800 Degrees Fahrenheit record, which I think was a little disappointing in terms of the production. But for the new one, you've changed producers and gone for a simpler approach, and the songs, I think, have become more powerful as a result of it.
It's true that, you know, Bruce added a whole different attitude.
That's Bruce Fairbairn.
Bruce Fairbairn, yeah, who produced the album. If something was lost on the 7,800 Degree album with production, it might have been because we went to a new studio and it was the first time a band had done a full album in there. And Lance was really trying his best, of course, but really working so hard with us and with Nils Lofgren at the same time that, you know, some things did get lost in the mix, as they'd say, you know, where we might have went a little too overboard production-wise. But that's okay, because in the same vein, we're the kind of band that'll be able to make those songs up in a live album or, you know, or different arrangements now on the tour. Songs like Hardest Part of the Night, which are making it, you know, it's almost an acoustic version, you know, and it's working real well for us. So Bruce added a whole different color now, you know, and we really explained to him how much the live thing means.
Richie, you're getting quite a lot of attention in your own right as a guitar player these days, but what's most important to you about this new album? Is it the songs or the solos?
No, the most important thing is obviously the songs, because John and I as writers have come into our own, I think, on this record, and we wrote an incredible amount of material preceding the record, for the record, you know, and you know, we're trying to establish ourselves as songwriters, and you know, writing for other artists is definitely in perspective.
So is some of the material planned for the record going to be given to other musicians, other bands?
Sure, absolutely. You know, John and I, when we get together and we write, it's more or less we sit down and we write, and then we review afterwards. You know what I mean? We write just a bunch of songs. We don't like to categorize. We come up with ideas, and we don't say, like, oh, we're going to write a heavy metal song today, or we're going to write this song today. We just write songs and then color them later. You know, you color the songs later.
John, there is one track on the album called Social Disease. It's about love being a social disease, which I gather Aerosmith were very keen to get their hands on. Why did you particularly want to hold on to that song?
Well, just for the fun factor, I think. What happened with Social Disease is initially I thought it would be great if Stevie Tyler would come and sing background with me. And so they said, oh, sure, send us a tape. You know, we'd like to hear it, and blah, blah, blah. And his management got a hold of it, and his record company got a hold of it, and desperately up until the day we mastered said, let him have the song, let Aerosmith have the song. And I thought about it, you know, we discussed it. We said, oh, man, it'd be great to have Aerosmith cover one of our tunes. But in the long run, we said, no, we like it too much. And it was put on the record just because the idea of the album is it's like the biggest barbecue on wheels, you know, welcome to the beach party in Bon Jovi style. We got a place on the beach in Jersey, but we can never be there, so we brought the beach with us, you know, and Social Disease is all part of being on the beach.
It's certainly a good track. I think probably the standout track on the album, though, is Wanted Dead or Alive, Richie, which is a kind of a modern-day cowboy song. Do you see yourselves as modern-day cowboys, traveling musicians?
Absolutely. Wanted is our favorite tune on the record, and probably my favorite tune that we've written to date, because it's really an honest version. It's the correlation between the cowboy of, you know, yesteryear or whatever, and the modern day rock and roller, because there's a lot of you know, things that go in common with that. You know, like the cowboy would ride into town on his horse, rob a bank, hit the bar, drink some booze, you know, grab the women, take the money, and run and do the same thing in the next town. And we kind of do the same thing, except we don't rob a bank, we go play a concert. We come into town, play the show, grab the women, drink the booze, and do the same thing the next night in another town across the world. And but the lyrics are quite more serious than that, and it's about being on the road, and it's reality to us, and it's an honest thing that we sat down and wrote about. So.
Well, we've mentioned a couple of tracks on the album. We can close with the third one, which is the single, You've Given Up a Bad Name. That's the single in Europe and America. And here's the video for that. Thanks for coming by, John and Richie.
Thank you, Dante. Take care.